That's a giant drink you're having, Marge.
Value for money.
Value for money. Speaking of value for money, when I first received this lens, I didn't really like it, honestly. I thought it was just a normal 28mm lens. I started questioning why Leica Lens Lab actually launched it, actually released it. But then I tried it outdoors, I tried it in natural light, and oh my God, I started liking it. And this lens has probably taken one of the most important photographs that I've taken in my photography journey. Right, full disclosure, Leica Lens Lab sent this lens for review. No money changed hands. They don't get to see what I will be publishing. It's a very, very pretty lens, this thing. When I first saw it, I went, yeah, that's a very, very nice looking lens. I wasn't quite sure about the lens hood at the start, but then when I put the lens hood on the lens itself, I just went, okay, right, this is very, very pretty. Now, Leica Lens Lab sent me this. This is the 28mm f2.8 9 elements. I almost called it an Elmarit, but an Elmarit is by Leica. It is a remake of an Elmarit though. The first one, the pre-ASPH. The original wasn't very sharp, underperformed a little bit. It had a few problems. It couldn't fit the Leica M5 and the Leica CL because of the extended lens. Leica Lens Lab improved on it. They improved on a few things. They made it sharper, slightly sharper. Let's get right on it. What do I like about this lens? This lens has amazing, amazing colors. The colors are so true to life that I honestly don't mind uploading them without any editing. Maybe some exposure changes, maybe some cropping, some highlights, turning down the highlights, boosting up some of the shadows. But that's it. It really pops out. The reds are beautiful on this lens. The lens is very, very well built. It is like Lens Lab though, I am not surprised. Focus ring is very, very well dampened. I think this is one of the best feeling focus rings that I've come across from Leica Lens Lab, so well done on that. The aperture ring, it's very, very smooth, very, very nice, clicky as well. But then the star of the lens has to be this lens hood. This lens hood is probably the best lens hood I have seen coming from any manufacturer on any lens. It's a very nice focal length to bring in the whole scene. So what I like to do is to just sit back, relax, and wait for my subject to cross. I am waiting for someone to cross through the pillars. Right, I wasn't close enough. Again, I'm not used to shooting 28mm, so yeah, we need to get a lot closer. 28mm is quite wide, so you expect some distortion for it. But then this might be considered 0D, zero distortion. I just find it amazing how they managed to do that. And then the flare, it's amazing. Beautiful, beautiful flares, red ones coming from this lens. There is a problem though. There is a little screw here which prevents the lens hood from spinning around when you attach it. Now the fact that there's a screw here means that you need to be quite precise on the way you attach this lens hood. So line it like so, click it into place. The screw prevents the lens hood from spinning around. It's a stopper, but then it's a little sharp. It doesn't cut your hand. Maybe it will if you do it hard enough. So Leica Lens Lab, you might want to file it down a little bit. Now let's talk about 28mm. It's quite versatile. You step in very, very close and you immerse yourself into the scene itself. You immerse your viewers into the scene. Take a few steps back and then you get this sort of like 35mm, 15mm looking scene where you're actually looking at the scene instead of immersing yourself into the scene itself. You step back even more, you get a lens that is wide enough to take architectural shots. The fact that the distortion is very, very well controlled means that you don't have wonky lines on the corners of your photograph. I took this lens on a market shoot. Again, I like markets, so this is how it went. In terms of sharpness, wide open, it's actually quite impressive. They improved on the sharpness. I don't have the originals compared to, so I don't know how that lens performs. But anyway, for a vintage lens, I think it's slightly overdone. I think they should have left it a bit softer, wide open, and we can stop down for extra sharpness. Right, so as you can see, the images coming out of this lens is just on point with a 28mm. It's not as clinical, it's not as clean as a modern Elmarit, which I don't like lenses that are too clean. It still has that vintage rendering. The funny thing about this lens is the Leica 3D pop. I still get that sometimes I don't. I wonder why. I really need to figure out how to shoot with this lens. Colors, again, amazing. I wish they made some kind of plastic cover on it like Leica does. I know I keep asking for more and more and more. I might 3D print something to go over the lens so I can chuck this in there. The 28mm focal length also has quite a bit of depth of field, so this lens is very, very good for zone focusing. A little bit of an explanation of what zone focusing is that you throw the lens into a smaller aperture, say f5.6 or f8, and then you preset a distance. All you have to do is to make sure that your subject is somewhere in that distance, and then it will be acceptably in focus. It wouldn't be tech sharp, yeah, unless you get lucky. But then it's acceptably sharp enough so you can use those images. I think I found a 28 that I will finally. I think it makes for a good companion to the 50mm f1.2 1966. I know the two lenses have different character, but I'll see what I can do to match them up. Yeah, those are my thoughts on the 28mm f2.8 9-element by Light Lens Lab. See you in the next one. All of the images that you saw in this video were edited using my preset pack, Shinwa, that I've linked down below. It's the best way to support the channel. For those of you who bought it, thank you very much. Right, see you soon.